bookmaking. Oh, you're right, yeah. And I have to say, Jan was a very early adopter of digital print technologies. She's famous for that. It's really amazing. And she is a maker of artist books. Until 2023, she held an honorary position as adjunct associate professor at Southern Cross University, following her extensive academic career there. And once again, from Jan, we're going to hear about her engagement with books as an encounter. So thank you for leading us there, Deirdre, and also I think Gali as well, and Robin all speak about that encounter with an artist book. And she's going to talk to us about the book as a metaphor for a variety of spaces, which is clearly demonstrated in her extensive and inventive art bookmaking practice. And I think we're going to hear about Jan as a bit of a traveller as well in this presentation. So let's see if this should work, I think. Yes, that's working, so we can go back like that. So just give it a good firm press and hopefully it should. That's the one to go forward. We want to go forward.
Thank you for that welcome. Now, Tim, you'll wave at me if my sound drops. I beg your pardon?
You can speak a bit closer to the mic. A bit closer. Closer, Jan, closer. Yes, that's it.
Thank you. Reflecting across 3 decades of my book production reveals parallels and contradictions, some prevailing affections and some dead ends, some good ideas and some, frankly, ill-advised. I'd always thought of myself as a text and image kind of girl, and it's true that most of my works have an interplay of text and imagery. But upon reflection, I don't think this is key to understanding them. Rather, the metaphoric potential of the book is the principal concern in many of my works. My works are in fact masquerading as something else. You could call them a deceit. I'm calling them a hoodwinkery. One thing pretending to be another. Now, what are my tools of deception? And this is speculative. I want to outline certain tools and then we'll move on to the more speculative part. Some are quite familiar to those of us who are makers and readers of artist books. We know, for example, that the page itself is a highly charged field. If we lay an object here or text here rather than there, that the object or text has a different meaning. The bottom, the top, the gutter can all be activated in pursuit of that concept or hoodwinkery. Our choice of font, the size of that, the colour of that font have an embedded meaning. If I use a typewriter, it means something different to stamping, handwriting the text, or generating it digitally. The nature of imagery, be it hand-drawn, photographic, manipulated photo, all different. While these strategies may be effective as narrative tools, they are not on their own tools of hoodwinkery. Excuse me for a moment. What is it that convinces a reader to participate in the duet the backwards and forwards exchange between maker and reader, needed to transform one thing into another. For hoodwinkery, as I propose it, is indeed a duet. Speculative hope on the part of the maker is the first part of the duet. The reader still needs to be convinced of the truth of that speculation. And this is my central question. Does my imagining and your subsequent acquiescence have a name? In theatre, we might refer to that exchange as being predicated on the suspension of disbelief. In literature, we might refer to it as, for example, aesthetic illusionism. In the following selection of, we're going to look at 5 books, I'm proposing to call this indescribable sense where we, as a maker, can present a book and make you believe it's something else. Hoodwinkery 101, my introduction to the concept. Terrania, made in 2018, concerned with the valley, Terrania Valley, that I see from my studio. The book, open in my hands, is Terrania Valley, and this is what I'm proposing. I'm able to transform the book to something else. To me, held open in my hands, this is Terrania Valley. The language is the same, the gutter, the valley. Once established as a spatial concept, to turn the pages is to make one's way across or through Terrania Valley. The interplay of stamped text and subtle washes conjures multiple layers of experience of the valley. The plays of light, the eucalypts, the birds, the atmospheric conditions. You see what I see. The book is Terrania Valley. The next example, Serpent's Ascent, made in 2022, is a reflection on a carpet snake. And this book unlocks the powerful capacity of location on the page to influence meaning and transport the reader to a different place, for the reader to stand on the veranda with me. The Serpent's Ascent is that carpet snake's seasonal journey from garden to veranda to rafters and ultimately to the roof cavity of our house. I've witnessed this mesmerising performance a number of times. A great bulky reptile moving with the flowing grace, with the grace of flowing water. As the snake moves across the bottom of the page, it transforms from a graphite drawing to a text drawing. And then it climbs to the mid-space. It pours, oozes onto the veranda. And then upward, draping itself along the balustrade. She rises again, like vapour, until she is among the rafters, searching for that small opening, She peers in. She recognises her customary pathway and enters. She finally disappears into that small opening and into the roof cavity at the top of the page. The position of text on the page activates that book's internal space, but the conceit of the serpent disappearing through an imagined space is, to me, an act of hoodwinkery. Now, to more complex hoodwinkery. Virgil's Keep is a book I made in 2017. And here I'm asking you to see this book as an enclosed garden, a keep. The work is inspired by Virgil's epic poem, the Georgics, written about the year 30 BCE, on the challenges and virtues of an agricultural life. The book is bound on both margins of its elongated form. Inside, a series of paired lino cuts serve as gates and generate that sense of enclosure, the keep of the title. The reader, like the gardener, passes through each pair of gates, the gates of possibility, the gates of toil, of planting, of hope, of tending, of pestilence, of tempests and furies, and finally, of harvest, revealing the final line from Virgil's poem, "Lo, 'tis time our steaming horses to unyoke." So ends a temporal, spatial, and emotional passage through the keep. In my mind, that's an enclosure. My first substantial artist book, Solomon, made in 1995, is a 7-volume book made after a journey to Solomon Islands and was my Master of Arts submission. In fact, 30 years ago. And this, I think, will be displayed here on the ArtSpace table. Much has been written about this book, but today let's use the lens of hoodwinkery to say this book is Solomon Islands. My first sight of Solomon Islands was from the plain of islands strewn across a taut and shimmering sea. Many subsequent decisions had their genesis in that simple moment. Text strewn across the page like islands, the page itself becoming the sea. This liberated my textual arrangements, but another revelation awaited me. As I laid fragmented text over the photographic images, the illusionistic space of the photograph pushed the text up, pushed the text forward, almost slapping me in the face. If the text was in my face, what was behind? Deep, timeless space. This sense of illusionistic space prevailed even to blank pages. The white page, now deep space. Thereafter, in my eye, the white page became a thing of depth which could be reached into, which could be filled with stories held spatially in relation to each other, but also stories across time and across geographic space. I was quite breathless with excitement. I wandered through and across that deep space, through distance and through time. To constrain my excitement, I pushed the 7 volumes into a slipcase. An experiment in hoodwinkery, I think. My final example, Chi, might be thought of as using bodily or haptic strategies as my hoodwinkery device. This work is a response to a journey to Guangzhou in 1995 to learn traditional ink and wash painting on fans. The book uses the traditional structures and principles of Chi that I learnt in the studio in combination with photographs taken around the city. Held fan-like, let's go back to that last one. Held fan-like in the hand. The pages of Chi open toward the body in a slow motion flutter. The page turning hand, an echo of that flutter. Almost performance, certainly a bodily engagement, and certainly only a small conceptual leap to say that Chi is a fan. In conclusion, while tools such as I've shown here contribute, the real source of hoodwinkery inherent in these artist books is something more difficult to pinpoint, and I don't know the answer. Artist books seem to be more conducive in form than, for example, a painting or a drawing to invite us in, to say, stand where I stand, see what I see. The artist book, like the novel, draws us into a space where artist and reader stand together. And perhaps it's that familiarity with the form of the novel and our willingness to enter into them that prepares us for the hoodwinkery inherent in an artist book. Now, my books may fail to convince you, but I want to assure you the first part of the hoodwinkery duet is true. Thank you.